Hey everyone, Jason here, aspiring entrepreneur, and today I wanted to go over personal branding and what content looks like for a personal brand. So this is very relevant to kind of how I've structured this channel and how I got this channel started, since we just seem to be on a roll with talking about YouTube channels and growth here. So again, just sharing my personal thoughts and insights. This is definitely not any hard and fast rules in this one, just like the last video with talking about the different types of funnel software and why I think WordPress is better. So definitely make sure you check that out. Link in the description. The other link in the description is to a collaboration video I did with Michelle over at Check It Media, where he asked a bunch of YouTubers about if they could only choose one piece of equipment for their channel, what would it be and why? So make sure you check out that link as well. It was a pretty cool video, and it was cool to see how other creators really rank what is important and what's not important when it comes to equipment. So with that, let's go ahead, jump in. Personal branding. So I'll run through the definition that I have for personal branding and then walk through the two different types of content I think you need for personal branding, and then wrap it up, of course, with some context and examples. So for me, the personal branding definition is growing a niche audience around a shared interest or desired result through storytelling, engagement, and value. And of course, I put in parentheses here, authenticity, connection, and trust. That's just what ACT stands for in ACT Marketing, which is my digital marketing agency. And not really important right now, but I was getting some questions about that. So let's go ahead and break down this definition a little more. So the first part of the definition is growing a niche audience. This really shows that the goal isn't to connect with everyone. A shared interest or desired result. This means that you have one central topic, niche, or results that people are going after for. I included result because if you're doing something really broad like success or productivity or motivation, then the result is just being more successful or being more motivated or being more productive or whatever. So result does work there, but it's still very narrow. And then next we have through storytelling, which means being your authentic self and relating to others. This is the document thing. This is what Gary Vaynerchuk talks about all the time. And then we have engagement, which is actively replying to comments and reaching out to others, not just posting. I think it's crazy to me how many people want to get off the ground, and I was guilty of this in the beginning too, where we're just so focused on getting out the content, we forget to actually reply and engage with people who've replied and engaged with our content that we posted. So you'd think it was a no-brainer, but I see this a lot of times, like especially with small channels when I'm doing research, they'll have a couple views or they'll have a couple comments and there's just no replies. It's like, I don't know what, just reply to everyone, And then finally we have value, which is providing actionable content to a niche audience, the niche audience that you're targeting. And this in parentheses here, just not pitching. This means you're not just like trying to sell yourself all the time. It's not about capturing leads or growing your sales funnel in this particular part. So to take it a step further, there's two different types of content that I think of and focus on when it comes to my personal brand. And so the first pillar is authority content, and then the second pillar is relationship content. And I have an example here for you, but essentially authority building content just provides actionable high value content. And what I mean by actionable isn't just like, oh, 10 things about topic X, which is what I see a lot, which listicles are great, but you also want content that actually helps someone get from point A to point B via a tutorial or a in-depth blog post. So you can see here on the screen the different examples I have. And then relationship stuff is just building a relationship with people and just being your authentic self, kind of like what I do on these vlogs. And so the example I have here is the authority content and then these vlogs like this. And one of the things that I think is really important, especially when you're thinking about context, and I'll get to this later with the entrepreneurship versus health optimization example, is you want to make it really clear. I think it's important to make it really clear when you're doing value delivery or you're doing relationship building. I think it can get a little messy when you're trying to do both. So for example, with this here, B2B content marketing strategy, I am not necessarily a different person in that video, but I'm a lot more to the point. I'm not as chatty. I'm not adding personal anecdotes here and there. I'm just delivering the value, and I'm really focused on someone who has a business that needs to create a content marketing strategy and delivering just that value. And the whole purpose of that video is to deliver and answer the question that the video is designed to answer. And then over on the vlog videos, and I also distinguish the thumbnails really clearly on purpose because I want people to know if it's a vlog, if they're clicking for a vlog or they're clicking for a content video. So over here on the vlogs like this one, it's just me chatting, and I'm just chatting about whatever topic I think is irrelevant or important for that day, but I am still staying in that niche. So that was a little jumbled, but hey, this is a vlog, so let's go ahead and move on to the importance of documenting first. So I think it's really easy to look at other people's content, their authority stuff, and say, wow, that takes forever. Like, yeah, this, what was it? This B2B content marketing video, I think probably took about 10 hours to put together, right? That's a ridiculous amount of time to spend when you're just getting started. I never spend even half that amount of time on the first like 40 videos that I publish. Maybe I'd get 5 or 6 videos done in 10 hours. And I was just focused on pumping them out, and we'll get into the KPI. Keep opening loops. We'll get into the KPI. I'm getting ahead of myself here. But what I want to focus on here is you have those two different styles of content, and really the document, the vlogging, or the just talking about what you're working on, the sharing of your journey is where I think you should start. And because of two reasons. Number one, the relationship's the most important part. And number two, because you can do it right now. The first like 20 or 30 videos were part of this Building an Online Business from Scratch series that you're seeing here on the screen. And it was just me with a webcam, and each week, it was once a week. Each week, I would just talk about what I had done to put together a sales funnel I was working on. And guess what? This sales funnel made absolutely no money. Like, it made no money at all. Like, the thing ends with me saying, wow, I failed and fell flat on my face. And was it embarrassing? Yes. But was it authentic? And was it more important to be real with people and say, wow, here's all the mistakes that I made and here's why it didn't work? Yes, because it builds a stronger relationship. You don't always have to pretend like you know everything. Just like I don't really talk about email marketing or copywriting on this channel very much, even though I'm a marketer, because that's not really my specialty. We'll talk about AdWords and Excel sheets and data analytics all day long, but if you start talking about emails, I'm just gonna woo, right? So it's important to remember that we all start somewhere, and you can document your starting wherever you are. I was documenting starting from nothing. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is context. So you have those two types of content, but I think it's also important to remember that there's a different context for the different types of platforms. So I just chose Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube here for simplicity's sake, and because these are the ones I'm most active on. So I like to think of Instagram as the informal, personal, and then LinkedIn as the office. So kind of like what you do in real life, where maybe you speak a little differently or you're a little more laid back and relaxed when you're hanging out with friends. That's kind of like Instagram and YouTube vlogs, where you're a little more stoic and professional. That would be LinkedIn, or your blog and YouTube authority content. And so this is a really basic example of how you can keep the two different types of content you create separate, and it also makes sure that you're always delivering good content to your audience, because your audience knows what they're looking for. The last thing you want is your audience to come to you, click on your blog post or go to your YouTube video, go to your Instagram account when they expect to see, hey, what's going on? What's the latest? And then all of a sudden you slap a large piece of like heavy content in front of them, or vice versa. So the context of these platforms, I think, is really important as well. Now, speaking of context, something that I was actually butting heads with some people on was the importance of niching down. And so this is really, I think, where I'm very different than other people. And that is, I believe that, yes, you should be personable, you should share your stuff, but you should share your stuff as it relates to the core topic of the audience that you're growing. And so for the example here, I have entrepreneurship versus health optimization. So one of the things I don't really talk about on this channel is that I'm a bit of a health nut, and you can see here every Sunday I spend about 2 hours and I make all of my lunches and dinners and snacks for the entire week, and that is so I can just sit at this desk all day long, an alarm goes off on my phone, and then I just go and pick the piece of Tupperware that I'm supposed to eat, and then I can keep going. So in the context of, oh yeah, that's really helpful and productive and efficient, yeah, I could probably share that. But if I came at it from a different perspective and started talking about intermittent fasting and keto and high-fat diets and high-intensity training, that has very little to do with entrepreneurship. And so I think it's really important to draw a fine line between the content that you do share in your personal life and the content that you don't. Not necessarily because you're trying to hide a certain part of yourself, but to be respectful of your audience and understand why people are following your Instagram account or why people are watching your YouTube videos. And this focus is important, and that line is important because when it comes to growing yourself as a personal brand and influencer, there are only so many spots on your audience's bench. So I like to think of it as a basketball team. Everyone on the team has a specific position. Some of the people, they're multi-talented, they can fill more than one role. But for the purposes of this silly little example, we're gonna assume that you are just one player. And so your goal is to be the best player for that seat. Because when someone comes to a platform, they come to Instagram, they go to Facebook, they go to YouTube, they're in their minds, they're looking for a specific range of content and a specific amount of content because they're looking for the entrepreneur content, and I want to fill that spot on the bench. Obviously, there's other spots on the bench, like maybe they're looking for a movie, maybe they're looking for something funny, maybe they're looking for news. I don't worry about that. I only worry about the 1 or 2 seats that are reserved for entrepreneurs, that space, that attention gap that I get to fill when they watch their 1 or 2 entrepreneur videos for the day and then they move on to whatever else. Some people are gonna watch 1, other people are gonna watch 5. That's not really the point, that's not really important. It's to remember that there is a slot for your niche in your audience's mind, and whatever else is going on, don't try and fill that. Just fill the spot on the bench that you're designed for. So that leads me into the final thing here. Wow, we're going way, I'm still talking way too much. Okay, wrapping it up. So your KPI for this, how do you know if it's working? And the short answer is you won't for a really, and I mean really long time. Like I probably posted 100 videos and maybe I hit a few hundred subs at the time. And so really your key performance indicator should be what you can control, which is how many times you post. So I have 2 screenshots here. You can see the YouTube channel is up to about 312 videos, and I've posted about 450 photos on Instagram. And in both instances, the KPI that I look at is how many times am I posting, because there's so many things out of our control. And once you reach a certain scale or a certain mass, and that'll be up to you to decide when you say, I've made it. I'm personally not there yet. So I am just focused on putting out the content and being consistent and replying and engaging and following this definition that I have here of being a personal brand. So I hope that this was helpful. This was much longer than I had anticipated, but I really just wanted to kind of share that conversation that I had the other day, and it really got me thinking about this and the 2 different types and the importance of document, which is Gary Vaynerchuk's thing, and then also having a healthy dose of actionable content in there as well. So you're not just growing your influence, you're also growing your authority at the same time. I think that's really important. Speaking of being off topic, phone just went off, so it's time for me to go eat lunch. So I better end the vlog here and go grab one of those silly little pieces of Tupperware. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, comment below if you have any questions or feedback or tweaks to this content strategy or this definition of personal branding. And as always, keep building the business you love. Take care.